the world I built from Fanime. So, a lot of criticism that's regarding this event has to do with it coming at a time where topics like that can't be explored. Anything that has to go in depth, anything that's amazing won't be reciprocated by society. It not being able to be expressed because of the current state in society. It went hand in hand with Donald Trump grabbing by the pussy. It was at the time where the more real you are in society, the more you get rejected by society. This is why me and Malice for the Kid Life, actually it was touched upon quite nicely. What do you think, actually? And the next year they praised it. There are a couple of works for Fanime. There's 2019 with Demon Slayer. There's the same shit I did the Friends for Year with Vicky. Her ass with curly hair. She happened to be wearing checkerboard jeans at the point. And I also had checkerboard Vans where I did all that going in at Fanime 2018. From then on, I created a platform, and all those girls symbolizes my army today. Literally, there's this thing called the Darling Army that came in Fanime 2019 while I cosplayed as Shota Toroki doing the same thing, grabbing cheeks. Not only was it highlighted, the year after we're anime, it was highlighted the exact event the year after. So, from Demon Slayer Bread, start of organic animes, referencing Fullmetal Alchemist and Inuyasha, unlike just enough animes to get by, like Kill la Kill and Sacred Beast. Even though it couldn't be shared with individuals and it couldn't be highlighted as an event, it was still historical. That was only because America was too lame to reciprocate. In doing so, Demon Slayer let them know, yo, we're not having this whack shit anymore. Literally, not only did I get to go to the convention where I blew up twice as much as last year, we gave you an anime that you could deny and that went exactly against how the system was going at the current state in America. So there on in, not only did the Darling Army, defend me, it was 4 years of straight terror. So that was the fourth year where I ruled the world. The second year was literally, 2019, where Code Geass came out with that movie. Again, another reward for Fanime 2018 was Code Geass came back with literally the third movie, I suppose. No, it's not the third movie. It was actually, I think the third movie special or whatever. The title of the film is Code Geass, Elusive the Resurrection. So Code Geass is my favorite anime. That's two. And also, it was controversial to, what happened in 8th grade, because it's all, this quality ballistic BS all started and, after 8th grade. Because back, in middle school, I used to be able to look up, things on YouTube like A&B's, comedy skits, people, putting themselves on mute, dancing to mainstream songs, anything that's interactive, Timothy Delaghetto, who is also Wild and Out, which is one of my favorite inspirations from media, whose song I also put in the slideshow of Fanime 2018 because we went hand to hand with Sabo vs. Cat in season 2. And my favorite anime character, Lelouch V. Britannia, actually took over the world in the anime, and we used to be able to watch, intellectual videos, called A&V's, anime and music videos back in the day, where I would be able to look up stuff like, that song Viva La Vida by Coldplay, where he says I used to rule the world. I used to be able to look up videos called Lelouch used to rule the world back in 8th grade. I used to love it. Literally, I used to love the intellectual properties. That's what it meant to be a deviant artist. And that shit all got taken away by people hating and people having lack of soul. From Soul Eater, not saying anything, but still, for 2019, after them failing for me to be a pedophile, it went on to, an anime adventure of my older brother Damo, aka Damo and Nons. Dominique is his real name, but, Damo, reminding me why we have our father's DNA, why he is not a slacky. It's good to respect genetics and stop generalizing things, because it was at the time when I was generalizing things like, gangster and attacking concepts instead of recognizing whole people, and I've learned from that. So from there on in, they couldn't prove that I wasn't a player, and so ever since 19, they had this running gag. How we got signed up because it was no such thing as mainstream. Fucking Lil Uzi's the best rapper, out today, because Call Black sucks, everything with Lil Pump sucks. How am I gonna break the mold? I decided not to, because I was rolling with the criticism at the time, accepting animes like Dr. Stone and Rumor, accepting less than Dragon Ball Z and Naruto to this day. And you see, what happened, I needed to pick up back the pace because in 2020 they weren't happening. They weren't gonna support, Easter eggs anymore. They weren't gonna support My Hero Academia, Asta, Deku, Meliodas, with green eyes without me getting money. They weren't gonna support that forever. But they said, tour per show for 2020 or else we're not gonna cooperate. And that is why I couldn't advertise it in America at the time. But I got back a reasonable time. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa for American. Not the other Lisa. That Lisa's still alive. And she's fine and kicking too. Thank you, Jesse. Daniela, Chris, older brother, aka Sanji, for work with me and allow me to all get within a reasonable time. With this platform I created, I was able to, allow them to have children in their early 30s, allow, fucking my other cousins, my other members of my family to shine when they're at social disadvantage, and that really, really, really cost a lot, that really meant enough to me. To a point where, I forgot about the past before, but this was a process, because in 19, they had a blood seekers. There's always, a blood seekers where, you get trapped, in your brother's house, and, you have all this perspective, oh, girls are this, hoes are hoes, this and that. But at the end of the day, there's still society, there's still mainstream media, and they make you forget about all that and make you accept less and literally have you work with what's left over and over and over again, but you're a man of quality. So, during that time is when I went to Crunchyroll, 2019, which is another achievement I made. It didn't just stop at Fanime. I also, had crazy influence, but still, because I was known for grabbing at Fanime, I chose, get on the dance floor and tell jokes at Crunchyroll 2018. So, and that's also where I met Juvia. So that was an explosive year. And Juvia Mariah, aka Lupus Nora, followed me all the way to 2019 up to 2020. And 2020 was the year we rebroke it because we did not want to, fuck with this. 2020 is when I was forced to watch slice of life anime because Jujutsu Kaisen and Fire Force was only doing so much. So I watched every other anime that year, and then next year I decided to work on the Valentine's Day special. You know why? Because I wasn't gonna compromise for America. I had a really, really good dance style in the beginning of the year that referenced, my 8th grade, my middle school. And 2020 was the year where I was supposed to incorporate everything. I'm gonna make another video about how I'm really, really satisfied how this year actually turned out to be junior year of flight school, not the previous 2 years, because junior year was supposed to be in 2020. The educational system I made for myself, where everybody could cooperate, where the animes rapidly could cooperate, God rest their soul. We still have, William, we still have, Steven, aka Sabo Du and Philly Boyle 8 in real life. So in 2020, I referenced all my life story on my channels, especially the funny ones, and literally I was able to create a fan base, and I was finally able to get, feel of my old middle school back, being able to get money from YouTube, being able to hang, with the girls in junior high. That all came from, resource and material. And from there on in, I told, the whole story of my life. I didn't tell the exact intricacies of, Grandma Mary and her importance in America. I told you just enough. I gave you play a copy. I told you a story of Justin. I told you a story of, my old brother Itachi, aka Chris. I told him about Robert, Razmith. I told him about all the good things, but I didn't really go to depth into stories that were, spiritual and meaningful until 2021. And so I created a platform in 2020 because I dropped, how I told the story about Fanime is a dark game audio program in 2020. And Lily, dark game is also, a similar program to how I got chicks. So everybody was conditioned a dark game, they started using dark game in the middle of 2020, and we had platform and dating in 2021. So, fucking ever since 2018, I've been running this. And Zebra Clown and Drac. And 2020 is when I thought about Knuckles. And also, in 2020 is when I found this anime called DNA Squared by watching, a whole bunch of anime, slice of life anime specifically. Reference a story of me and my older brother Anti-Itachi on YouTube, where everybody knows him as, literally, because he was a negative version of my older brother, and it made me feel just like him. It was at the time where I had to, fight a gang, because I got all those girls for fan base. So 2020 was the gang where I brought him home. I had to fight a Mexican gang, which really gave the automatic Emmy-winning story of Armando the Tyrant. Came from the same game. It was an old school anime, like Air Master and Slam Dunk. And my brother was into those animes because of the concept, because he knows how mess with concept, but recognizing gang territory. So DNA Squared reminded me of all the lectures I used to get from my brother about not knowing about the streets. And when I finally faced the gang in the streets, it was so easy. Just like fucking, eating a bowl of cereal. Oh, he shoots a bullet, step to the side. Because they don't compete and they hide behind their reputation. So what ended up happening is I ended up, doing the same thing I did when I was younger, literally. I dodged a whole bunch of bullets. I came home, I ended up watching DNA Squared. Oh, you get it? You had a whole bunch of harems, you had to bring them home and you had to fight for them. And then I became, a stereotypical hoodlum, but then I stuck to writing and I broke out of that phase. I started drinking a whole lot more water. I'm all like, this is insane. This is way too easy. I can't, keep on dominating without restrictions. So I restricted myself. I ended up gaining, better habits to a point when I was working with people like Dom and Matty Mo. Not having their habits be detrimental to my revelation. now that I won the gang war and I brought them home, now all my, ladies can be a part of Nas, can be a part of my comic book, can be a part of my media. Now we can go on tour, now we can do this, and that. So I caught them all in 2018. I had to bring them home in 2020. I had to fight for them in 2020. In 2021 is when we started hanging out and doing productions. So this whole crew was bred from 2018. So you already know what happened last year. That's not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 years of straight fire. Got to grab 300 girls in a convention, and I got to make Nas. I am the almighty Eris Moody, aka Goodbye Moody Yoto. This is how I built my Shonen Kingdom.